Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined this evening with another superstar of the C3 Hidden Histories Anthology and a writer that has quite a bit of accolades, and we'll talk about those. But I'd like to welcome to the show Sarah Cooke. Sarah, how are you this evening?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So let's start off talking about your entry for the Hidden Histories C3 anthology. It's called So You Want to Write Comics.
Yeah.
Can you maybe give us just a little summary of what that tale is all about?
Yeah, so since the theme of the anthology is kind of educational pieces, either about something in Columbus or about comics, um, I wanted to write something about writing comics, since that's what I spend so much of my time doing. And my short kind of focused on what I feel like is kind of the biggest, well, I guess maybe like the foundation of storytelling is the emotionality, um, and kind of how the emotionality drives the plot. And that's kind of the focus of the short.
And you know what? I think that you're absolutely, I agree with you 100%. I think that if you don't have that emotional attachment to what you're reading, I always look at it from an angle of something I'm interested in filmmaking.
Hmm.
So many movies, if you're sitting there watching and you could care less what happens to those characters, then that movie has
Yeah.
certainly let you down.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. I feel like, and kind of what I mentioned in the comic is, I always kind of think of it as like, what is the character's emotional arc? That's sort of the first thing for me is like, where are they at emotionally, or what are they struggling with emotionally at the beginning of the story, and where do I want them to be at the end? And then what kind of events along the way, plot points, are gonna cause them to get there.
Okay. So why'd you choose this topic? Was it just as the easy answer being, well, I do this already, and maybe I can give some knowledge to some other folks, or was there another reason why you decided to choose this topic?
It's mostly that, mostly because I do so much of it and I love it and I think about it a lot. And it also kind of complements Finnick's story, which comes a little bit before mine. So we had the opportunity to kind of link those two together, which I thought would be really cool. And yeah, mostly just because it's something that I love and spend a lot of time thinking about.
Well, your artist is someone that is well known to PVDcast listeners, Brett Bowman, who, of course, with Dara Naragi created Persia Blues and a whole host of other wonderful comics that he has created. What was it like working with Brent?
It was great working with him. I met him at Space, I think 2 years ago, and loved his comics and loved his work, and wanted to find an opportunity at some point to work with him. And this seemed like a good opportunity. Since it is C3, I wanted to work with someone local, and it seemed like the perfect opportunity. But he's great. He's super talented and just really fun and great to work with. I had a great time.
Was there something about his art that you said, yes, we have to work together on this project? Was there that like epiphany that he's got something that is just the it factor, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I liked a lot about his art is his character designs. Um, and this short, it's basically a character who Finnick and I both. Well, I don't want to speak for Finnick, but my impression. But I at least in my short kind of loosely based the character on myself, and it's mostly just her kind of moving through her office, kind of looking at the camera, explaining to the reader sort of certain elements about comics writing. Um, so there's not a lot of like big action or anything like that. It's really driven by the character talking. So I knew I wanted the character to look cool, and I like Brent's character designs a lot. I love all of his art. Um, but yeah, and the character looks great.
I thumbed through the preview PDF that we all received from Sydney, and I have to say that Brent really did knock it out of the park. As I said, I know Brent; he's been a guest several times on the show, but this one, I just feel like it was so realistic that he did such
Yeah,
an amazing job, and kudos to him. That's all I can say. Is
for
definitely
sure. I love the details that he hides in his backgrounds too. Like there's one page where there's like a Peanuts poster on the wall, and then on the last page, there's the first issue of my comic is in the background. My series, No Spell Lasts Forever, um, kind of behind the character. And I love some of the, like, he just puts so much thought and so much detail into the environments that he creates.
so. How did you become a member of C3?
It was after Space. I met, I think it was, I think Sydney was there. And she was the first person who I met, tabling at Space.
Okay, was that your first time tabling at Space, or have you done it before?
This year was my second time. Yeah, and it was, so I'm trying to remember my timeline here. So I think when I first met the C3 team, it would have been my first time at Space
Okay.
last year.
Space is a fantastic show. For those folks that don't know what it is, it's a small press and alternative comics expo put on by Bob Corby every year, and it highlights the very best of independent comics, art, comic strips, you name it, it's there. And you definitely, if you're in Columbus, you need to check it out. It's free too. I mean, so if you need extra motivation, it's a free show.
Yeah, Space is awesome. I love Space.
So why do you think C3 is such a special organization, in your own opinion?
I think I mean, just the first thing is just the people. Everyone I've met through C3 has been so great and just kind and supportive and creative and really dedicated to comics. Just really great people. um, and I think just really, really active in the comics community and going to a lot of events, just doing a lot of things like this anthology. I think it's just a group of really kind, really talented people who um, really want to do cool things together and are really good at organizing these projects and making them happen. That's been my experience.
Would you say that it would be an accurate statement if I said that, you know, this type of organization is so important, especially for
Mhm.
independent creators? Would that be something that would be spot on, that you would agree with that statement or not?
I think 100%. And I think like there are online groups and organizations that I'm a part of that have been great too. But I think it's really important to have local connections and connections with people you can meet in person. Um, and I think, yeah, I think groups like this are super important to comics creators.
Well, let's talk real quick. We're clearly not done, Sarah. Still want to talk about No Spell Lasts Forever and a couple of your other projects and whatnot. But I think we're at a spot where we need to talk about the crowdfunder campaign, because it's going
Yeah.
on to help put this book, help put this anthology out there in the world. And look, I've been saying it on every one of these conversations I've had with these so many talented folks. We want to shoot for the top tier. All right, there's
Mhm.
tiers, and each tier has some money that's going back to the artist. But I want to go big or go home, so to speak. So
Yeah.
2,000. If we can get $2,000, then every creator is going to get a page rate of $25. That's kind of unheard of in indie
Yeah.
comics.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
Mhm.
we want to make that happen. So folks, if you can and you want to donate, and you're getting a great anthology too.
Yeah.
Look, I let the cat out of the bag. I admit it. I have the PDF, the rough draft version, and it's amazing. So you need to check it out. Again, the money's staying right here in Central Ohio. It's not going anywhere else. It's going back to people like Sarah, people like Emily,
Mhm.
people like Shandu, people like Sydney, people like Jeremy, et cetera, et cetera. All those fine folks is going back to them so that they have some funds back to them for supplies, which I'm sure, Sarah, supplies are probably the biggest chunk of maybe your budget.
Yeah, supplies. um, for me, since I'm a writer, I think a big part of my budget is just everything that goes into um, like making comics happen, printing and shipping, and even just like fee like well, not MailChimp anymore. I've switched over to Float, but like Flowdesk fees and all of these things. Just all of the expenses that it takes to make comics happen.
That's right. And so with this crowdfunder campaign, you will be helping to make this a reality. Again, go over to C3, and if you don't know what C3 stands for, it stands for the Columbus Cartoon Coalition. Go over to the social media. They'll have all the information about how you can get your hands on this cool anthology, and even give you the breakdowns of the other tiers. And you know, I'm just very passionate that I'd love to see us get 2,000, so everybody can get that $25 page rate. But there's the next tier down is $16.75, and that's $20 page rate. Next step down from that is $13.50, and that I believe is $15 going back to everyone. And it all kicks off with $1,050. But again, I'd like to see us get to the higher echelon, if you will, and give everybody $25 back in their pocket. So
Definitely.
all right, let's talk a little bit about some of your projects, Sarah. Let's talk about No Spell Lasts Forever, because if I remember correctly from my research, it's on the journey to being a trade, correct?
Yeah, we've got 4 issues out. The artist is Easy to Savino, and we're shooting to get issue 5 out around hopefully around the end of the year. It's 6 issues, so the number 6 would be next year. And after that, we'd love to do a trade.
Okay, okay. I thought that I
Mhm.
saw that there, but that's awesome that you have that as a goal. Can
Yeah.
you give us a little bit of the background towards No Spell Lasts Forever without giving away too much?
Yeah, so it's a modern fantasy series. It's about a magic using criminal who kind of meets an early death, which is not a spoiler. That happens in issue 1. um, and makes a deal with the devil for a second chance at life. But she has to kind of figure out if she's really the kind of person who can go through with this deal, and if not, what does it mean for kind of her fate, the fate of her eternal soul.
Is there an inspiration for the tale?
It's kind of inspired by sort of old noir movies. Um, the main character herself is really into old noir movies, so I wanted to give it that kind of feel.
Okay. All right. I believe that there is another project that you, I think, finished up. If I did my research correctly, called Faster Than Light.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about that project?
Yeah, definitely. It's a sci-fi anthology that I did with lesser known comics. We did the first volume last year and the second volume this past summer. There were a bunch of Columbus folks in that one, which was exciting. Um, and yeah, it's a sci-fi anthology about family, so different stories about biological families or found families. And kind of the little tagline that I gave to the creators was in a fast paced, futuristic world, how do families maintain their connections? And the different creators just took it in all different directions. It was really cool to see the different styles and different kind of takes on even what makes up a family. And it was a lot of fun to get to work on.
Well, that is something that I think is very unique about that project, because I think that, and again, I'm not trying to sound like the big bad jerk here, but I think at times sci-fi sometimes is just explosions and starships and
Mhm.
aliens, and there's not something more to the tale. And so I think that
Yeah.
for me, doing the research on Faster Than Light, I think that that's something unique, and that's something that should be praised.
Oh, thank you.
So Let's talk a little bit about yourself here. You are a Mad
Mhm.
Cave Talent Search winner.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through how that journey took place?
Yeah. So I won in 2023 in the writing category, and I submitted uh, when I think it was like early summer of that year, late spring, early summer, that I submitted my script, and they were looking for at that point scripts. I think it was like up to 8 pages or something like that, set in the world of one of their series. So mine was set in Stargazer, which is also a sci-fi. And it's a really good series, actually. I recommend it. So mine was a short set in that world, and I submitted it like early summer-ish. Heard back around the end of the summer, and the sort of the prize for that is getting to write a short for one of their Flash Gordon anthologies, quarterlies. So that was a lot of fun. I was paired up with the winning artist, colorist, and letterer to do that, and it just hit shops back in July. So that was very cool. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to get to work with all of the other winners and with the Mad Cave editorial team. They were all great. It was just all around a great experience.
So, piggybacking off of that explanation or that journey that you told us about, number one, were you a little bit nervous about going and taking those first steps to getting into the contest, or were you like, "Yeah, we'll give it a spin and see what happens"?
I was nervous.
Okay.
um, I think because I just I was nervous, I think, about how my writing would be perceived. And I think there's always kind of that little voice in the back of your head that's like, well, what if they read this and they don't like it and they don't have a good impression of me as a writer? Um, but I thought it was kind of worth taking that risk. That wasn't so much to lose. Um, so yeah, there was definitely some nervousness, but it felt like it was worth it to give it a shot.
Now, does this give you maybe a leg up on the competition with Mad Cave? In other words, are they looking to have you come back for some more work on some of their IPs and whatnot?
Yeah, they did actually hire me to write a couple of shorts for a couple of anthologies coming out from Paper Cuts, um, which they haven't announced yet. So,
Okay.
um, but so that was a lot of fun because that's a younger, like middle grade demographic, which I'd never really written for before. Um, so it was fun to try something new. And I'm in the process of pitching a couple of things to them. So I don't know how that's going to go yet, but it was definitely nice to have just the editors there, contacts there to be able to kind of reach out to and have someone to actually pitch something to. Mhm.
What would you say, since the C3 anthology is all about learning stuff? What would be the lesson that you took away from the Mad Cave journey?
I think it really is when it comes to making comics, I think the lesson is um I think number one, just kind of jump in. Like even if you do feel a little bit nervous, sort of don't let that stop you and jump in. Um, and then also just really the importance of building relationships with editors because they did actually invite me to pitch a couple of things and have given me a lot of feedback about the kinds of projects and pitches that they're looking for, and that's insight I wouldn't have had without being able to connect to those editors. And whether it is through a competition or um, meeting at a convention or emailing, um, I think building like genuine relationships with editors and not just like kind of cold emailing them and being like, look at my thing, but trying to connect with them as people and fellow humans who also love comics. I think is really important.
I have to ask that you got the opportunity to work on a piece for the Flash Gordon Quarterly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Are you a fan of Flash Gordon?
I liked, as a sci-fi fan, I liked Flash Gordon. I hadn't read a ton of the comics beforehand, but I really jumped in, kind of researching for the short, and read sort of like the whole like stuff going back to the 30s, and then like the DC run from the 80s, and that made me a fan. Like now, I really do enjoy Flash Gordon stuff.
Do you enjoy the movie?
I haven't. I still haven't watched the movie.
Oh.
I need to at some point. I've seen little clips of it here and there. I still haven't watched it all the way through.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna wrap up here with a couple last questions here. Since you have had all this experience of being recognized for your writing and doing all these great projects, what advice would you give to an aspiring writer?
I think there's so much. I think hmm, I think first of all, when it comes to the actual writing, um, just do a lot of it. Just really like I wrote, I don't remember, a bunch of scripts before. No Spell is the first actual series that I finished and wrote all the way through and wanted to make. Um, but I wrote a bunch of stuff before that, just learning how to write comics. Um, and yeah, so I think just practice, learn what you can from other writers. Um, and as far as I guess kind of the whole sort of Kickstarter side of it, or publishing side of it, um, I think build a community before you even start to like try to launch a Kickstarter. A community with other creators and with potential readers, people who are interested in what you're doing, so that when you do start kind of making stuff, you have that network there of people who would be interested. Um, and yeah, I think those are probably the biggest things: build an audience and build a network of creators, and just learn everything that you can from other writers.
Do you have any projects that you'd like to highlight real quick?
um yeah, we've got the next episode, or the next issue of No Spell coming out later this year. I'm also part of a member of the judging committee for the Zelda Awards, which
Oh,
are,
okay.
yeah, just launched by Carla Medrano is the one who founded them, and they're a new award for women in indie comics, um, and that's all women, not just cis women. Um, and that's coming out. The show is going to be in April. We're going to be opening for submissions soon, so that'll be all over my my Substack and my Instagram. Um, and yeah, I think those are probably the most exciting things I've got going right now.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to give it a rundown before I let Sarah give us her social medias and whatnot so that we can follow her and all the great things that are going on with Sarah. But look, I'm just going to mention it one more time. All right. I have to. I feel it's my duty. You need to get your hands on this anthology. So many cool
Yeah.
stories, so many cool things that you're going to learn. I learned so much just by
Mhm.
doing these conversations. You need to check it out. Again, if we could get that $2,000 mark, that everybody gets a page rate of $25. There's other tiers. And don't get me wrong, we would be happy to get any of those other tiers. But I think that Columbus, Ohio, we can do it. We can make it so that these folks get their page rate and you get a great anthology. It's a win-win situation. So definitely, again, swing over to C3's social media. There's going to be links and information on those social media outlets where you can get your hands on one of the anthologies. So again, all the money staying right here too. So there's no outsourcing of funds. It's staying all
Mhm.
right here in Central Ohio. All right, with that, Sarah, let's go ahead and plug social media, website. Do you maybe have? I know we're getting close to the end of the year, but maybe you have a random appearance or something that you'd like to hype up.
um, well, for social media, my Substack is sarahlindsaycook.substack.com, and my Instagram is at Sarah C Comics. Um, Appearances. I'm going to be at the Central Ohio Artist Table just for an hour at Cartoon Crossroads.
Okay. Okay.
And the Zelda Awards might be participating in a virtual con around Thanksgiving. That's not solidified yet, but that is a possible appearance.
Okay. Cool. All right. Sarah, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. This has been great.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, stick around as I'm going to wrap up this episode here right after this quick break.